Hey everyone, ColdBrew here. Welcome back to Diablo Immortal. Thank you guys so much for staying with the channel and subscribing. Of course, it totally helps the channel out. If you haven't already, please consider doing so. We're getting close to that 5,000 subscriber mark. All right, let's get this started. Combat rating in Diablo Immortal, what it is. I'll be explaining this over in this video and just explaining some of the misconceptions maybe that exist about combat rating, how to get more combat rating for free, for sure. That's the most important thing, right? And of course, some things that you have to consider when building your character and trying to get more and more combat rating, because the reality is that combat rating is very crucial to the game. They made combat rating work in a way that everybody just looks for a higher number and a higher number. But the way that it actually works is that you need it until you don't need it anymore, all right? And then you need it again. And I'll explain what I mean by that. That might have been a bit confusing. It was less confusing in my head than I thought it was going to be. But let's get started, right? So, here's my character right here. I'm in Hell 4 difficulty, which is the highest difficulty that everyone is right now. There's some people in Hell 5, but that's the whales, honestly. And that's because of the power of both their gear and the gems. Because gems do give combat rating. If you've never noticed before, legendary gems especially give the highest amount of combat rating, which totally affects both the damage you deal in PvP but also in PvE. Why did I mention PvP? Well, I'll explain that. So let's get this started. So if you click here, here's my hero. I do not have gear equipped or some of the gems equipped on purpose because I want to be explaining some things for this video. So resonance does not affect combat rating. That's another misconception. Resonance affects the total stats that your character has, such as attack and life, but it does not affect the combat rating. So it will not multiply the resonance number, not the gems specifically, but the resonance number that you get will not multiply the combat rating that you get. So clicking right here, you'll see my damage and life and all that, but on more attributes, you'll see your combat rating number. And that, of course, goes up and up depending on the gear quality that you have. It is, if it's a triple statted gear, which means you've got 3 of the stats, the primary stats, any of the stats, honestly, strength, intelligence, fortitude, vitality, willpower will give you the same amount. There's no one stat that can give you higher amounts than the other. That's not how it works. They give one combat rating for one stat, and if you click, it just totally tells you that. So I've got 884 strength, I get 884 combat rating. So combat rating, I've got 3080 in the difficulty of Hell 4, and when you click on it, it definitely tells you what happens. So your combat rating is 170, lower than the combat rating of monsters on your level, and it decreases the damage you deal by 59%. That is a lot, honestly. It doesn't mean it's impossible to farm it at this combat rating, because I did it way back when I was level 120 or so. When I was farming with a group, it's way more possible to kill enemies because you've got the power of a group together. Everybody's just killing all the buffs together, just multiply the potential of your hero. And it also increases the damage that you take by 145%. Against players, you cannot gain more than 10% damage increase or damage reduction. The final part there, that is also very important to note, that that is where combat rating plays a role in PvP. So the higher combat rating you have, the higher the chance that you will be at that 10% cap, the capped number against enemies when you're fighting. Okay, so when you're fighting, you'll be doing 10% more to them if you reach that cap. That cap is not really known because you don't really know when you get into a battleground. You don't know how much combat rating they have, but at the best case scenario, you'll have 10% more damage dealt and 10% less damage taken by the enemies, especially the whales like JT as the most obvious example I can give that maybe you guys also know of, is that he has 10% damage increase and 10% damage reduction against most of the enemies that he fights if they're not whales or they're not even close to his gear and combat rating. Okay, so why did I remove the gear? Because I wanted to show you on how easy it is to just get from that 145% damage taken to a little bit less with just a couple of points more. You don't even need to be at the point where it becomes, Hell 4 becomes easy. The point where it becomes easy is these points where it says recommended. That's like a total breakpoint where you do normal damage and you take normal damage from enemies, 3,250. But just a small upgrade to my gear So let's say I got an upgrade of 110 combat rating. Well, that's not small, but that's the one I can equip right now. Maybe I could equip the 56 combat rating right here just to show this off. I don't usually use that gem, but I now jumped to 3,136, and immediately I take 50% less damage just because of that. But the damage I deal is still reduced. All right, still reduced by not that much number, but you can still see that I can go in there. I will be taking double damage from health 4, and it's gonna be a little bit better. But then let's put another gem in here. Let's try and see. This one's not bound. Okay, let's get 22 more combat rating and see on how much that is going to change on my account. And now I jump on to 78% less damage taken, damage I deal 44%. So you see, it totally scales up the closer you get to that number. So that's what you have to have in mind when you are collecting gear. And then you reach a point where you think, oh, I need to get to the next breakpoint. Doesn't necessarily have to be the health 4 breakpoint. It will be for any of the difficulties that you're trying to get into. So where can you get some free combat rating? The easiest way is, of course, with gems. If you're a spender, that's the easiest way. But it's the most expensive way. The cheapest way, which is totally free, and it's a one-time thing for each character. It's not for each account, it's for each character. You need to be doing heli-query, all right? Specifically to get the upgrades from here. This is free combat rating. I've got 240 combat rating since I've started playing, but I've been doing the highest difficulties of the heli-query bosses every week, and that's giving me 240 combat rating. But you also get additional combat rating from each of these pieces that you see here. So a plus 10 there, there's a plus 30 there, plus 30, plus 30. So that's 100 combat rating I got already for free. The 10 you get, this is the basic one, I think, that you get it once you unlock heli-query. But these 3 are the ones you get when you beat the raid bosses once per character. The first time you beat them, you get that reward. It does not come again at any point after you beat a higher difficulty. This unlock once, and you'll see that tick mark right there once you get it. So the easiest way to go into the lowest difficulty and beat this, okay, is to find a group. Regardless of what your combat rating is right now. So this one says recommended 2000. You can be at 500 combat rating. If you ask in the global chats of your server, just go there and ask in the world chat, just say, hi, can I please get carried in one of the raids? There will be people out there willing to help you. It's not going to be crazy for them to just allow you to get into the raid. They will have to invite you to the raid, and they will beat it for you. You just stay dead when you're in the raid. Stay dead. You will be dying. There's no reason for you to revive, and just enjoy getting carried and get that free combat rating. So that's going to be 30, another 30 from here, another 30 from here, from this difficulty, which is honestly doable by many of the players on your server at this point where I'm making the video. All right, when the server level I think is 160. So have that in mind. That's free combat rating, 100 combat rating boost just by asking people for help, and you will find people. There is I am 100% sure that any server out there has at least a couple of people who are willing to help. Somebody that asks nicely. All right, don't demand it, ask nicely. Anyway, continuing on to the point that I wanted to make. This is more where you are advancing to the higher and higher combat rating. Because I said, it's relevant right now because I'm closing into that breakpoint. I don't really need it anymore to get into health 4 because I'm at, with the gear that I have right now, let's say I would be at 3,158. That's still doable. I will be taking a lot of damage. I'll need to be, healing all the time, be mindful of the enemies attacking me. But then I get some more good gear, right? And then I jump. Boom, I jump to 3,574. So I immediately start doing more damage in this new difficulty that I'm in. I'm doing 14% more damage and take 12% less damage. But this is capped. And that's where I say it's not relevant anymore, at least for fighting in the outer world. And the only place it's going to be relevant is going to be PvP and challenge rifts. So challenge rifts is where, as you progress to higher and higher levels, your combat rating dictates on how much damage you'll be taking. Let's say from stage 150 of the challenge rift, you'll be taking a lot more damage if your combat rating is not there to help you mitigate that, right? So you'll need to get more and more combat rating for that, if that's something that you're looking to to compete in. But if it's not, then who cares, all right? What I wanted to show you this is that this also gets capped. So this 14% will not get capped at right now, but it will get capped at 22% more damage dealt. So you equip this, and now I've basically reached a point at 4,000 combat rating where I'm at 20% damage dealt. So another 500 combat rating on top of that, I'm at 20% damage dealt. The next way for me to get to that 22%, so for only a 2% damage increase, I will need to get, I think, about 100 or so more combat rating. So if I change to one of my good gems, I think I jumped by 88 and I reached 21%. So you see already, to get that extra 1%, it's basically this point. It's pointless to push for higher and higher combat rating after this. All right, it's all up to you, of course, and depending on the time that you want to put into the game and try to farm more and more triples, you're gonna have to get the set items to be all triples for you to reach that 5,000 mark. It's doable, but of course the time spent has to be a lot higher. So here I go and upgrade to I'll put my rank 4 gem, which is gonna give me 78 combat rating. So that's another 22 plus there. I wonder if now I've reached the 22 mark. No. Will I have to equip this? It's gonna be too high. But what I want to show you is that immediately once I equip this, boom, I jump to 4,600 and I reach the cap of 22%. This is the highest that you can go. And this is reached at about 4,250. So about 1,000 combat rating higher than the requirement of the difficulty that you're in. And for me right now, getting more combat rating, it makes no sense. It will only affect PvP, as I said, and challenge rifts. Nothing else. Nothing else. Until I need to get into Hell 5. Once I feel like the item upgrades that I'm getting have the higher ranges, because as you level up, right? As you level up, you get more and more levels. The items that drop with a higher range of stats. So it's now 83, 86, 83 for a triple. In the level 127 that I have here, I'll show you a triple that is a little bit higher. So this one that is level 150, this one had triple rolls of 100. Double rolls show like this, so 134, 133 at level 150. Okay, so the higher you go, so let's say at about level 200, you will see that the ranges will become higher and higher. So 160s probably for those exceptional pieces. And the easiest way for me to show you that is if I go to the vault, we can see 174 items sitting right there. Okay, let me see if I can see an exceptional here. So 124, these are not exceptionals. These are normal rolls, by the way. So you see, you know that this is not exceptional because this is a double, single. Okay, exceptionals will have higher stats. This is going to be very difficult to find. Exceptionals will have higher stats and higher ranges. So this one's 143, 141. So already 20 combat rating higher than what I could get from a double rolled item. So this is an exceptional double, as I said. Okay, so your combat rating will naturally increase as you gain more levels. So you can have that in mind to not worry too much about pushing. So this was the video, guys. It was a little bit longer than I thought, but I hope I explained combat rating, how to get it for free. The gems do give you a good amount of combat rating. Other ways to get combat rating is, of course, as I said, the heli query and the quality of gear that you get. And once you get into Hell 4, which again, you can get carried by a group, just getting the rings will be a combat rating boost of about 200, right? It's insane. Not the triples, but this one, look at that, as 117, 113, insane difference, because I had, I think, 40 before this on my yellow rings, and now getting a set item in there jumps this up to 117, 113. So yeah, it's insane, and it's totally doable. You should take the game with a slower pace, I would say, because of how the game is. With the server level, it really has become all about just, you know, play it at your own pace, log in, do your battle pass. You get that experience. You'll get the boosted experience if you haven't been playing that much. You'll be getting those levels, and try and get the cap here so you get as many levels as possible. And as you level up, the items that you'll drop will give you more combat rating. This was the video, guys. Hope I didn't ramble too much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe if you haven't already. See ya.